Yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. And on the final and fourth installment of this absolutely complimentary, free as a bird masterclass on how to win at business as an ambitious female HBIC entrepreneur, I am going to fuck you up with some beautiful truth. And I'm going to be talking about the biggest red flags that I have seen in my 25 plus years as a coach in this industry that is going to make the fuck sure that you are going to fail at business. And I have my hater shades on today because there's so many fucking low life haters out there in the world. They are just trash bags and lowlifes and peasants and plebes. So I am blocking out the haters today. And, the haters are just around, y'all, because they can't do the shit that you're doing. They don't have the fucking cojones. They should just go work for the man on a 9 to 5 job. Because as my grandmother always said, Katie, not everyone can be great. The world also needs people to dig ditches. And you're probably a ditch digger. Okay. And I don't know about you, but I would rather drink my own urine as my beverage of choice than be a peasant. And if this is triggering you, maybe you feel a little peasant tree in your life right now. So we're going to get hardcore today. And I hope that you enjoyed the last 3 installments. When I tell you, you don't fucking need me to coach you. If you just listened to all 4 parts of this masterclass and you implemented everything that I say, I'm telling you right now, you will have the absolute business of your dreams. You will have freedom in every way, shape, and form. You're going to be able to serve people, give them incredible value, and have the life of your dreams, which means to me, being able to work from anywhere and go anywhere and buy anything and just tell people to fuck off. I can't tell you. And I don't know if it's like when my dad passed away and you're literally looking at your 250-pound dad in like a fucking vase, the size of like something that you would put a flower arrangement in, and you start to really sit with your own truth and your own mortality. And you're like, who gives an actual fuck? In 100 years, we're all going to be fucking dead. So all the things that we're doing right now, it matters in the moment, but in the future, it doesn't matter. Like, think about this. I was thinking about this the other day. I know the name of my grandmother and I know the name of my great grandmother, but before her, I don't know these fucking people. So all of these people for hundreds and thousands of years have procreated so that I can be here in 2026 living the life of my dreams, and not only living the life of my dreams, but breaking through all of my generational cursing and anything that has been passed down through my ancestral lineage. I know that I was put here as quote unquote the black sheep to break through those chains. I talk about this so much in my book, Ambitchious. And I'm healing not only 7 generations that came before me, but the 7 generations that will come after me. Now, I don't have children of my own blood, but I have nieces and I have nephews of my sister's children, and I know that it's helping them. So if anything, do this work for your ancestors and do this work for the future of your bloodline, because it's just such important work. So let's get into it. And I am going to say things that are going to make you feel uncomfortable. And I'm glad, because it's in the uncomfortable feelings that you wake up and say, what the fuck am I doing? I am worried about what all of these fucking dimwits on social media think about me. How about fuck those people and think about only what you feel and think about yourself? And if you can let those feelings be your North Star, you are going to be so fucking successful beyond your wildest dreams and imagination. Okay, so this is a compilation of everything that I feel are red flags within business life, within entrepreneurism. And I'm only compiling them and telling these things to you because I have either gone through them myself or I have seen so many clients that have come through my coaching system, really endure, struggle with, and ultimately some of them can't learn from this and they never level up. And it's sad to watch, but not everyone is placed here on this earth to be great. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, let's start with the first one. So the number one red flag, if you're an entrepreneur and you have a business or a company, or you're even like a CEO of a company or have a high up rank in a company that you work with and for, is you don't have the willingness to sell or charge fair prices. Okay. You avoid sales conversations. You hide your value and you're underpricing your gifts and talents that God gave you. And I'm here to tell you that when you underprice yourself, especially when you're amazing at what you do, not only are you hurting yourself, but you're hurting the market. And you have to choose before you even get into your business if you are going to be a high end offering or if you are going to be a low end offering. Because in the middle, that's where it's called the red ocean. That's where all the sharks are swimming and ripping each other apart, and there's so much blood in the water. But if you create something that is so blue ocean, that is so different from what everyone else out there is doing, which is so proprietary inside of an industry, you should be able to charge high prices for what you are giving. And I was having a conversation with a client the other day about contracts. And she's like, "Oh, I don't like to have contracts in my business." And I was like, "Are you joking me?" And I actually, when people want to work with me and they say that they don't want to have contracts in their business or they don't want to up their price in their business because they're afraid, that is a red flag for me as a coach. I don't work with those type of people. I have literally got to the end of a deal and had someone just like nonchalantly say something like that. And I'm like, nope, this is not for me. And I say, I really wanted to work with you, but that is a red flag to me. And I know that that is going to be such a pain in the ass. So I just say no to the client. Everyone in your business, especially if you are in a service industry, should be in some kind of a contract, or they should have some kind of procedure, policy, boundary, cancellation fee. I can't tell you how many women, especially I work with in the health and wellness and beauty industry, that they don't have fucking contracts. And then they complain about, oh, this person no-showed me, or this person didn't pay me on time, or this person like got services rendered to them and then they just ghosted me. And I'm like, well, how can they do that? You should have credit cards on file. You should have contractual agreements. They should know your boundaries, your policies and procedures. And for like hairstylists, for example, because I do coach a lot of women in the beauty industry, women have these policies where they'll say, if you show me within 24 hours, you get charged, 50% of the fee or 100% of the fee. And then when they go to charge the client who has signed the contract, the client's like, what the fuck? And the hairstylist will say, well, you did sign the contract. You knew you knew my policies, you knew my procedures, you knew my boundaries, you knew my contractual agreements. And the client throws a fucking hissy fit. And what I do is I tell the girls in the industry, I'll say, okay, instead of having a credit card on file and charging them, charge an upfront deposit, because that way you don't have to haggle with these people. You're just like, oh, I already have 50% of the deposit up front. That is a non-refundable thing. Obviously, all this is set in their contract. So there's a ton of different ways to do it. There's really no rhyme or reason or right or wrong way. It really depends on who you as a service provider and as a business owner and as an entrepreneur wants to implement within your company. But you have to have rules and regulations, because I hate to say this, but people, and this is not even like saying, oh, everyone's out to get you and everyone's bad and everyone's going to fuck you over. Humans are humans. There's going to be days where you're going to have like the nicest clients fuck with you. And if you just have policies and procedures up front and you are willing to really charge the price that you feel as a service provider that you deserve, then that's great. That's all gravy. Okay. But you also have to really think about, are you a high-end service or are you a low-end service? Because like I was saying before, you can't be in the middle. You truly can't. So think of it. Are you a Chanel or a Louis Vuitton or an Hermes or a Lord Piano? Or are you a Five Below, Dollar Store, Dollar Tree, Kmart, Walmart? You can't be in the middle, because in the middle is when things get really dicey and you're talking to everyone. And another thing, I'm just pontificating on this same thought. Let's just say you're a medical spa owner and you are catering to very high-end women and men, mostly women, obviously, but women and men. And you are in a very high-end suburb, let's just say for sake of conversation. I don't ever want to fucking see you ever on your social media giving discounts or running sales or doing like specials of the week or specials of the month, because it fucking cheapens your brand. I pinky swear promise you, I have never in my 25 years plus as a service provider, whether I was business coaching people or I was personal training people or I was doing their nutrition plans or I was doing events, it doesn't matter. You're never going to see me run a special. You're never going to see me discount a price. You're never going to see me use a fucking QR code or some kind of, percentage off. It does not happen because I am a high-end service. Now, if you are a ghetto blaster service and you can run motherfucking specials all goddamn day long, but guess what? You're going to attract the worst clientele. They're going to haggle with you over pricing. They're going to ask you to pay you later down the road. They're going to not tip you. They are going to be the biggest pains in your asses. Wealthy people who have money or not even have money, but see the value in what you do, because you're not selling the thing, you're selling the transformation. You're taking people from a zero to hero. Okay. So let's just say you are in the coaching business and you are a corporate coach and you are, talking about culture or whatever it is. You have to really think about the transformation and sell that transformation. Say like, this is where you're at right now. And with my coaching, you're going to be over here. And then what you do is you give them the best possible service, even more than what they're paying for. So let's just say they're paying you $5,000 a month. Well, you need to give them $10,000 worth of value. And you always want to under promise, but always over deliver. So the first red flag is not being able to charge your pricing, and really it comes down to not knowing your worth as a service provider. You want to get yourself into hot water. You want to fucking just blow your business up from the jump after all the hard work and blood, sweat, and tears that you have put into creating this company. Then don't charge appropriate prices, give people discounts, always be running sales. And I'm going to tell you right now, I will not coach you if you're already in the mindset of doing that, period. Okay. The second biggest red flag that's going to make almost 100% sure that your business is going to fail is you have no clear niche and you have no clear offer. So you're trying to serve everyone. You are speaking to everyone. So you're literally talking to no one. The more that you can niche down your offering and really talk to your ideal client, which remember, your ideal client is always you at your lowest point. So if you're an esthetician that you specialize in fixing people with acne, you probably had cystic acne in your early 20s for years, and you know what it feels like to have to put 30 pounds of foundation on your face to go out of the house because you feel so insecure. And you know what it feels like to put your face on the pillow at night and you could feel the cysts underneath your chin bubbling up. Okay. So you know how these people feel. So you have to speak to and cater to people with acne. Okay. Am I saying that as an esthetician, you're not going to help mature skin and melasma and eczema and acne and just giving really great facials. No, I'm not saying that. But I want you to really carve your path as someone who specializes in helping people go from this 0 point, your face looks like fucking pizza, okay? It's like Domino's on your face, okay? Little Caesars, Papa Gino's, wherever the fuck, whatever, okay? Papa John's, whatever. And you're going to take them from there to clear, beautiful, radiant, gorgeous, supple, moist, juicy skin. Okay. And you're going to paint the picture, and you're also going to have fucking treatment plans. I can't tell you how many people in the service industry don't have treatment plans. I don't care if you're a hairstylist or you're an esthetician or you're a lash maven or you're a coach or you're a fitness trainer or you're a nutritionist or whatever. You want to paint the picture of the treatment plan. Okay. You're 100 pounds overweight. This is what it's going to look like. Step 1, we're going to do these 5 things. Then once we get to step 2, I'm going to make sure as your coach that you're going to have done all of these things in step 1. Then step 2, we're going to implement A, B, C, and D. And then maybe the 3rd month, we're going to implement a few more things. And over the span of 6 months, a year, however long that you work with these people, you're going to take them through that treatment plan so they know what to expect, how much work is going to have to go into it, and what it's going to cost. And this is the thing, is so many people that I work with and have worked with in the past and have come to me to work with me, they don't have treatment plans. Now, me as a coach, do I help them with treatment plans? Absolutely. I help them create that inside of their business. But if they're like, oh, I don't work that way, like I just throw out these like one-off random things, like use this thing or use this product or do this thing to your face or do that thing to your hair or whatever, you're not co-creating and collaborating with your ideal client. So that's when people feel lost. There's no longevity of a client because they're just like, oh, I did these 3 things and it didn't work. Well, I'm moving on to the next person that I think could help me, or the next TikTok thing, or the next product that comes out that's viral on Instagram. Okay. Having clear offers and having a niche offers and speaking to your ideal client and serving the people to the best of your ability that are in the realm of what you do and what your zone of genius is always going to make sure that you are not only happy and joyful, but wealthy and abundant. I want you to wake up in the morning as my client and look at your phone or your bank account like I do and see just money coming in overnight because you are doing the right things. The 3rd red flag in any business that I know for a motherfucking fact that you are going to fail is you have 0 cash flow discipline. You have no CPA. You have no bookkeeper. You don't set aside quarterly taxes. You have no emergency funds, because here's the deal. When you start a business, especially if it's a brick and mortar where there's a lot of overhead, that's why I really love virtual components to companies, because there's not a lot of overhead. And we're going to get to that down the road in this podcast. But I can't tell you how many people start a company and they don't have an emergency fund, or they don't have 6 months of backup. Because when you start, especially a brick and mortar, you have to say to yourself, for 6 months to a year, I have to just say, and this isn't being negative, this is being realistic. You have to say, I'm not going to make one motherfucking penny. Okay. Now, that's probably not the truth, especially if you're really great at what you do. But you have to go into the business knowing that you have a buffer, that if worse comes to worse, if you don't sign up one client for a membership, or you don't bring on one new client into your company or industry, that you have the money to pay the overhead, which is like your rent or the lease or all of your utilities, triple nets, all those types of things. I cannot fucking tell you how many people that I have had as clients or have auditioned to work with me. And I ask them these questions and they owe the government $100,000. And every other weekend they're on a plane going somewhere to fuck some random guy in some random city in, the country. Or they are, spending money on Chanel bags and, C fucking class Mercedes and shit. It's a joke. And it's a fucking embarrassing. You should be embarrassed to be a quote unquote business woman. Okay. So you have to have the discipline to hire the right people. And listen, a lot of people aren't good at finances. They're just really good in their zone of genius, whether it's hair, makeup, lashes, skin, personal training, nutrition, online coaching, whatever. But you have to set up the right people who like to do and are good at the things that you don't want to do, whether it's a CPA or a really great bookkeeper or whatever. But when you have no discipline around your cash flow, I pinky swear promise you, you're going to fail. It's just the damn truth. Number 4 red flag is treating your business like a hobby. What does that mean? That means that you're showing up whenever you want to. When you're feeling tired, you don't want to do the work. When you're feeling sick, you don't want to do the work. There's inconsistent effort. There are no goals. You don't see the long run. You don't plan ahead. There's just no future ideas and aspirations. And so many people don't understand that the way that I got to the place I am now is because when all my friends were fucking partying on boats all summer and drinking rosé and clubbing till all hours of the night, when I was in my 20s, that's probably what I should have been doing, right? That's on point. That's part of your young adulthood, right? Is having fun and networking and partying and whatever. But when all of my friends were doing that shit, I was working. I was working 18-hour days, 7 days a week. I was eating and sleeping and farting and shitting and pissing my fucking business. I spoke about my business. That's all I talked about, all I thought about, all I dreamt about, everything. I slept and breathed my company. I knew what I desired to achieve. And every time I'd hit that goal, I would set the bar higher and higher and higher. And then I would write down, okay, Katie, to be the next version of yourself, to have the next version of your company, to make the next version of your money. Who do you have to be that person to attain that thing? What are the things that you have to do? What are the levers that you have to pull? What are the business acumens that you have to learn? What are the things that you have to do to become the next version of yourself? And so many people don't do that. They just go with the flow. You know, when they're tired, they just give up. When things aren't working, they quit right before the miracle happens. And it makes me sad to watch people who are so talented and gifted do that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, more for me, right? I can't tell you how many people have tried to copy my business exactly to a T. And they made it 6 months and then they just cashed in all their chips and they were like, yo, I'm out. And it doesn't mean that they're bad people, but it just means that they don't have that grit. And I hate to say it, but you have to be a gritty motherfucker. You cannot let in any outside noise. You have to put your fucking blinders on and just do the thing over and over and over. And to really get real, most of the things that make you the most money and make you the most success is these boring, yawn things that you do every day consistently over time. It's like bricks in a wall. You know, like my husband always says, do you want to build a skyscraper, Katie, or do you want to build a chicken coop? Because you can build a chicken coop in a day or a weekend, but you have years sometimes to build a grand, skyscraper or a monument. It takes time. It takes effort, right? Like if you go to Spain and you see the Familia Sagrada, that thing has been being built over hundreds of years, right? And that is why it's so beautiful. That's why when you stand underneath it and you look up, it's so breathtaking because it wasn't built in a day. Like that old adage, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. So you have to treat your business like it is your baby. You have to treat your business like it is your number one priority. And you have to do the boring shit over and over and over and also know the end game and end goal. Number 5 of how I know you're going to fail. I know you're going to fail is refusing to delegate responsibility and automate everything that you do. So many girls that I work with are micromanagers. They're type A personalities. They're perfectionists. They're procrastinators. And even though they know that they shouldn't be this way, they end up being the bottleneck in their own businesses. And I can't tell you how many women I've worked with that I actually realize in the long run that they're addicted to being needed. And this was me. This was me for many years. And when I healed from this and I realized, okay, Katie, you are the biggest issue in your own company. You have to hire the right people to do the things that you are not good at, or you don't want to do, or you don't have the time to learn. You have to not micromanage, but you have to tell people exactly what you need from them, and then trust that the people that you are hiring are going to do the things that you need them to do so that the business runs smoothly and is affluent and abundant and profitable. When you're a micromanager, I bet you $1 billion that you're going to have a huge burnout episode, if not multiple and numerous burnout episodes within your company. I can't tell you how many women come and hire me when they're in their just last legs of their business. And it's like the death rattle of their business, because they realize that they're the ones that are truly stopping their business from being the greatest thing that it can be. And when you're a burnt out bitch, you're not going to have the ROI, the return on investment that you're making, because there's an energetic vibrational frequency around this kind of behavior and how you're presenting as a micromanager and as someone who wants to do everything themselves. So that is why, and one of the things that I specialize in the most with me and my team is automating all the things that are just tiddlywink, pain in the ass things, like booking, like having virtual components to your company where you're creating something once, it's a one-to-many model, and you are signing people up for these things that you don't have to keep recreating and reinventing the wheel. So if you're feeling burnt out right now and you don't have these automated parts and systems to your company, and you're being a micromanager, and you're not trusting that the people that you're hiring and paying and salarying out to do the things that you want them to do, I'm telling you right now, just quit your fucking job and go work at Target. It's literally that simple. I don't mean to be a cunt, but here I am. I'm telling the damn truth. Number 6 is, and this is a tough one, because I think that people really think that they're bigger and better than what they are, and they have not honed the skills that they need to take their businesses to the next level, is you're ignoring market feedback. You're refusing to adapt your product. You're refusing to adapt your pricing. You're refusing to create a message that is going to attract your ideal clients. Okay. Like I said earlier in the podcast, are you a Chanel or Hermes or a Louis Vuitton, right? That never goes on sale, that is a high-end luxury brand experience? Or are you a Five Below, or are you a dollar store? Okay. I would rather charge thousands of dollars a month to give one person 110% of myself than charge jack shit and give everyone that same 110% of myself and burn myself out to a motherfucking nub. And that is usually why in the long term businesses fail, because they don't have the staying power. They don't have the grit, determination, and tenacity to go to that next level. So if you're ignoring market feedback, and you don't want to up your pricing, and you don't want to make your product so good that it attracts high-end clientele, and you don't know the messaging behind your brand, I bet you 9 times out of 10, you're going to fail. I pinky swear promise you. The next is avoiding marketing and visibility. You're the type of person who's like, I don't like social media. I don't want to do this. And I'm going to get to something in a second that's very important that I've had a lot of epiphanies around recently. But you're relying on the hope, like if you build it, they will come. It's like the Field of Dreams movie, right? Or you're relying on referrals without any proactive outreach program. Okay. Now, do I believe at the core of my being, in deep in my cells and deep in my heart, that social media right now is going through a massive upheaval and change? Yes, I do. And what is happening, and this is just what I've been watching over time, is that everyone is selling the same fucking caca. Everyone is just chat GPTing all their shit. Everyone is just talking to everyone, and they're not talking to that one person. And what people deeply desire now more than ever is community, is connection, is feeling things that they haven't felt before or haven't felt in a really long time. People are really dreaming of nostalgia, right? They're dreaming of like how things used to be. And this usually happens when there's a huge glitch in the matrix, like how we went through a pandemic and how we're going through some issues with, our economy right now. And I'm not one to blame the economy. I'm not one to blame any kind of three-dimensional circumstances on why I'm not doing what I need to be doing and why I'm not making the money that I should be. But what I am here to say is no one is coming to save you. And if you are creating a brand that is so loving and so community oriented and so hell-bent on helping people feel something that they've never felt before or haven't felt in a really long time, that is why you're not converting what you do into sales. You are being like everyone else. You're being so fucking samey. And that is why, for example, with KBMFC Wellness and Social Club, when you walk into my wellness center, this is for women who are Gen X and millennials and even the younger generation like Gen Z, because they love all the 90s and 80s throwback stuff. But my goal is so when people walk into my studio, they're instantly transported back to a time of just fun and innocence and nostalgia and just exuberance and just feeling like, and you'll see this when I start posting about it. You're walking into like Lisa Frank's Trapper Keeper circa 1993. And if you look at the wellness space right now, everything is beige, everything is boring. Every wellness center and Pilates studio and yoga studio and gym looks exactly the same. And my deepest goal and desire was to make it look like Punky Brewster's Treehouse, mixed with Pee-wee's Playhouse, mixed with Lisa Frank, Garbage Pail Kids stickers, Barbie Dream House, and to give people experiences that they're craving and give people experiences that maybe they didn't even know that they needed until they experienced it. And then they're like, holy shit, I need more of this in my life. If you are just looking like everyone else out there, and then on top of it, you are just relying on the algorithms of TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and whatever to bring in and attract your ideal clients, it's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. It is like you are just screaming into the abyss, into the darkness, into the void, because you are no different from anyone else in the world. And maybe that is creating a persona, like how Beyonce has Sasha Fierce, or, Eminem has Slim Shady. Sometimes it's really difficult for people who are a little bit less, out there to really speak to people in a way that sometimes can make themselves as the speakers feel very uncomfortable. But if you can put on a persona and be someone who maybe you're not, but maybe is inside of you and is afraid to come out, you are going to attract the best clients to your studio or to your offering or to your virtual coaching or your hair, skin, nails, whatever, brick and mortar company. But if you're just like everyone else, I don't know what to tell you. I was watching a hairstylist that I know. I was watching her social media the other day, and it made me feel so uncomfortable. It was so fucking cringy because I know that it is not who she is. And I know that it is just her social media manager just trying to take her money and keep her busy. And in the interim, making her look like a total fucking dumbass, nitwit, idiot. And it has nothing to do with hair. It's like, bitch, just set up a fucking tripod and show before and afters and show how the people that come to your salon are going to experience your experience. Show them like, this is how I do and sit down and I do an intake and I talk to my new client and I say like, how do you want to feel? And what do you desire to look like? And bring me some inspo. And then from there, I'm going to walk you through, okay, this is what we're going to do to your hair. We're going to do some balayage. We're going to cut some layers. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then give them a treatment plan. Say, I want you back here every 4 to 6 weeks to get your color, to get a trim, because this is what we're going to achieve over time. And I promise you 9 times out of 10 that those people are going to trust you with every fiber of their being. But if you are just like doing social media just to do social media, you're not only wasting your money, but you're wasting your time. And what's so sad is you're always going to be able to make more money. You're not going to be able to get back that time that you're wasting looking like a fucking dork and an asshole on social media. Okay. Especially if it's not your brand. So if you have a problem in your industry and inside of your soul, because this is also like a soul thing, this is also a spiritual thing, it's also an energetic thing. If you have a hard time showing up as your highest version of yourself in real time, and you don't want to be seen because you don't want to be judged by other people. Like I always say, if they're not feeding you, fucking you, or financing you, who gives a fuck about what they say? And in 100 years, you're going to be dead anyway, and no one's even going to remember you. So I say, become the healthiest, happiest, wealthiest, hottest, most happy version of yourself in real time, no matter who thinks what. Because at the end of the day, it's what you think about yourself. It's not about what other people think about you. And if you're keeping yourself small because you don't want to ruffle any feathers, get out of the fucking business you're in and go work for someone else and build their dreams, babe. Okay. The next one, I know that you're going to fail, is you have a fear of investing in your own personal growth. That means you won't spend money on acquiring new skills. That means that you won't hire a coach that's going to help you go from A to Z. I always say, stand on the shoulders of giants, hire the people who have done in some way, shape, or form the thing that you desire to do, and someone that you admire, someone that you jive with, someone that you look up to. You're not spending money on the proper tools to take your company to the next level, whether that's client retention management software, whether that is building out a course, whether that is spending money on marketing or social media ads or whatever. You have a fear of spending money. And remember, I said in last week's podcast, you have to spend money to make money. I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years on coaching and tools and all kinds of things that I didn't really want to spend the money on, but I knew that it was the only way that I was going to go to the next level. So if you don't want to invest your money into creating more affluence and abundance and freedom in your life and in your business, then again, I'm going to say this ad nauseum today on this podcast episode, go get a job, babe. And listen, this is nothing to be embarrassed about. I've seen thousands of people over the years who are entrepreneurs in the service industry shut down their shit and go work for someone else. And that's okay. It doesn't make you a piece of shit. It doesn't make you an idiot. But at the same time, maybe you're just not cut out to be an entrepreneur like me. Because it takes guts of steel. It takes pulling all-nighters and honing your craft and beating your meat till your fucking cock is raw like a hamburger. But in the end, it is so worth it. Like when I wake up in the morning, I wake up whenever I want. I don't get up with a fucking alarm blaring. I don't have to force myself to eat and shit and then get in a car and drive 2 hours in rush hour traffic and leave my children to be raised by some fucking slut at a fucking daycare center that doesn't give a fuck about your kids. I never wanted that. I knew that wasn't my life. I knew that wasn't part of who I am and where I was going. But again, it doesn't make you a piece of shit. It doesn't make you a loser, but not everyone's cut out for this life. Stop trying to LARP as a business owner. Just go get a job, babe. Just go get a job. Unless you are 100% ready to invest in your growth and evolution and being the best version of yourself on this 3-dimensional earth plane before you shuffle off this mortal coil. Because guess what? When God wants you to come home, he knows where to find you. And I don't know if it's going to be when I'm 110 years old or when I'm 60 years old. I don't know when that's going to happen, but you're fucking You bet your bottom dollar, babe, that I'm going to do everything that it takes to create legacy and have the most money, not so that I can spend it on frivolous shit, but so that I can have the freedom that I desire. And if I don't like working with someone, or I don't like doing something that I don't like to do, I can just say, you know what? I don't need to work with you because I'm fucking rich. I don't need to do this with you because I have so much money that your money, I could wipe my ass with it. And this is not to be a see you next Tuesday, but like, if the shoe fits, like, it is what it is. Number 9, that I know you are going to fucking fail in business, especially as an entrepreneur in the service industry, is that you have chronic failure in your boundaries. You say yes to everything, even though you mean no. You get that feeling in your body. It's a visceral reaction that you know that this client is going to be a problem. I actually had this today. I was talking to a client and she had said something to me via text, and I felt this instant heat come over my body. And I just texted her back, and she's already signed my contract, but I just had this visceral reaction. I said, you know what? I just felt a little something, and I don't think that this is a good fit. I know that we're at the end of our negotiations in this contract, but I'm going to pull the plug now before it gets too far. And she was really upset with me, but I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you talk shit about me. I don't care if you besmirch me, because the people that are going to listen to your dumb ass are stupider and dumber than the bag of dicks. I don't want them as clients anyway. I don't want them following me on Instagram. I don't want them to come into my wellness center. I don't want to have anything to do with them. God gave us these senses of visceral reactions to tell us that this is not right for us, or maybe that it is right for us, right? I have the same visceral reactions when something is for me. So I'm here to tell you that if you are not having policies and procedures, and you are not being so stiff, okay, stiffer than a fucking cock on a Saturday night, okay, after a couple blue pills, if you don't stick to those stiff ass boundaries over and over and over again, it's going to lead to overwork. It's going to lead to burnout. It's going to lead to anger and aggression. And honestly, long term, it's going to lead to resentment. And I cannot tell you how low vibrational those feelings and emotions are. And those feelings and emotions, if you feel them over and over again over a very long period and span of time, you are going to get sick from it, because those types of low vibrational frequency emotions is what actually makes you have sickness, illness, and disease, and fatigue, and burnout, and adrenal fatigue, and all the, chronic fatigue syndrome, and depression, and anxiety, and just like all the shit that you don't want to feel. So you better make sure that if you are getting into any industry, you better have fucking pristine boundaries. You better have standard operating procedures, SOPs. Everyone should know where they stand with you at all times, and you cannot fucking let your guard down. When you have a business, you have to treat it as if you are a general in war, that you are a fucking war strategist. You have to say to yourself, are they going to attack me at night? Are they going to attack me in the day? Are they going to come by plane? Through the sea, on land? How are they going to attack me? But if you have pristine boundaries and policies and procedures and SOPs, and you have clear-cut, concise communication with all the people around you, you are going to be so successful. But if you don't, I promise you, you will fail and you will lose everything that you worked so fucking hard for. Okay. And I've seen it happen 1,000 times with so many people, not only that I've worked with, but I just watch. Okay. The next thing, I promise you're going to fail if you have this. If you have toxic or no support networks. So when you have toxic networking, when you have people around you that don't truly support you, and these are the people who are secretly posing as your friends, posing as your colleagues, posing as your employees and coworkers and whatever, and they're not giving you what you give them in support, and the balance of energy is off, I promise you're going to fail. This is going to be one of the worst things for your business, because you're going to be in these enabling, codependent, enmeshed, toxic, negative, isolatory relationships. Okay. I was thinking the other day on social media, because I was talking to one of my clients, and she's like, it's really sad. Like, I support all these girls that I work with and all these people that I work with, and I'm always liking their stuff on social media, and I'm always trying to be so supportive and whatever. And they don't do the same for me. And I hate to say it, but usually people like us, people that are so fucking successful and wealthy and abundant and attuned and aligned and constantly leveling up and ascending and evolving, we're not going to get as much support as the plebs and the peasants and the losers and the lowlifes and the people that are like just like not doing the most, because it's so much easier to support people who are just like in the lower portions of business than to support the people who are doing such big shit. Like, I watch what everyone does, and I see people who are like allegedly my greatest clients and allegedly like close friends of mine, and they will write on like Kim Kardashian's social media, or they'll write on, Mariah Carey's wall or this person's wall, or it may be in the coaching industry. Maybe you're like giving praise to like Jay Shetty and Mel Robbins and some of these other fucking charlatans that are showing up and they're just total bullshit artists. Okay. They are more open to write on their walls than they are to me. And why is that? I had to really think about that when I was younger. And I started to realize, like, because they think like, oh, I went to school with Katie, or I worked with Katie in the past, or I went to college with her, or whatever, or I know her from the community. And they look at me as like their peer group, even though I'm not, I'm way ahead of them. But it's so much easier to support and give accolades and just like kiss the asses of the people who are like in their minds, like up here, than someone who they think is on their level, because they don't want to advance someone else at their level, because it truly is the crabs in a bucket mentality. And I have never been that way. I try to support everyone no matter what level that they're at, because I understand the universal laws of karma. And the people who are going to go around and they're going to support and give accolades to people who don't need it are the same people who are never going to pay you a dime for what you do. They're never going to support you. They're never going to come to you for your services. They're never going to tell people how wonderful you are, because if they do that, then that they think that they're losing something. And when I was talking to my client the other day, and she was like, people don't support me and they never like my posts, they don't comment on my posts and whatever. And you'll see these things on Instagram and TikTok. It's like, uh, the people who don't like your stuff, but they'll like everybody else's shit or whatever. Like, how hard is it just to like support your friend or whatever in business? It's very hard to them, because it means that they're in scarcity and lack, and they're feeling unworthy. And you are always reminding them about who they could never be, because they don't want to put in the work. So I'm here to tell you, if you're one of those type of people that you are expecting everyone to support you the way that you support them, you're going to have a very sad life, and you're going to have a lot of disappointment and a lot of resentment. So when you're posting on your social media, for sake of conversation, post from a place of giving value and service to your ideal clients, and fuck all of these hoes who just look at your shit and don't like or comment on your stuff, because you just have to know where you stand with them. They can't do that for you. They're not capable of it. You're asking people to give you things that they're not capable of giving you. So just create from a place of, the people who don't know me are going to be my biggest supporters, and the people that are supposed to be my biggest supporters that know me the best are going to be my biggest haters. And if you can just operate from that energy, oh my God, your life will be so different. You'll be so happy, and you will be even wealthier and abundant and have more freedom and have more of your core desired feelings, because you're not asking people to give you something that they're not able to do, because they're in lack and unworthiness and not enoughness. And your light shining so bright puts them in a massive shadow, right? I always say, if I was the person that I was complaining about, I'd probably do the same thing. Like, I always say, like, you know what? If I was the person on the outside looking into me, I would hate me too. I would hate me too, especially the people who grew up in my same town or same city, or maybe have worked with me in the past that haven't done anything or haven't achieved anything really worthwhile. I would hate me too. I would look at someone like me and be like, wow, what a fucking asshole. It was funny because my mom was telling me the other day when I was in Nashville, she was saying that she went to a baby shower, and a girl came up to her that I went to high school with and was like, oh, wow, how's Katie? My mom's like, oh, she's doing really well, and blah, blah, blah. And they got to talking, and she was like, I remember on the last day of high school, where we had to write down these things for like a time capsule that we were going to bury. And everyone had to write like who they were going to be when they grew up. And like people were like, oh, I'm going to be a firefighter. I'm going to be a police officer. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom, or whatever they were writing. And this girl said to my mom, I will never forget that Katie wrote, I'm going to be rich and famous someday. And my mom was saying, when she said this to me, it gave me chills, because since I was a little girl, I've always said the same thing. Like, I don't know who I'm going to be, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know that I am going to be so rich and so famous someday. And I have achieved all of that. I had an internationally syndicated reality television show called Wicked Fit under NBC Universal on Style and Bravo and E. And I have traveled the world, and I don't worry about money. I have more than enough. And I love my life. There's not one part of my life that does not bring me happiness and joy. And as soon as I feel like this part of my life or this person in my life does not bring me happiness and joy, I have no problems excommunicating them from my life. I just don't. And I'm also Aquarius, so I don't really give a fuck. I'm just like, bye. I'm an alien. I'm not even from here. Goodbye. So really think about who you're surrounding yourself with, because remember, like Jim Rohn said, and I've said this ad nauseum on this podcast since 2018, you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So anyone that is not giving you what you're giving them, get rid of them. I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your coworkers, your colleagues, your best friend, the cat down the road. Get rid of them, because they're not going to serve you in the long run, and actually they're going to hurt you in the long run. So I have 2 more here, and then we're going to wrap this up. And then next week is going to be the finale of this season of the Ambitchious podcast. And what's so exciting is the next time you hear this podcast, it's going to be in front of a live studio audience at KBMFC Wellness and Social Club. We're building a whole podcast stage with all of the bells and whistles. And we're going to have events every time we actually record a podcast. And then we're going to have a special after show Q&A live at KBMFC Wellness. So stay tuned for that. But these are the last 2. And like I said, on the finale is going to be my soul sister and one of my favorite clients in the whole entire world. And I've been doing this for 25 years. And she has just been such a pleasure to work with. Tosh Bennett of Skin and Body Lounge in Brisbane, Australia. She's the best esthetician in the world. I mean, she really is incredible. I can't wait for you to hear about her story and how much she's grown, and just glean so much incredibleness from her finale podcast. So stay tuned for that. But here are the last 2, how I know you're going to fail in business. Lack of basic legal and financial protection. People don't use contracts. They have no insurances. They have no legal structure. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't have contractual agreements, and listen, if people are going to be fucking scumbags, and I said this a couple podcasts ago, if people aren't going to pay you, they're not going to pay you. And there's no point in bringing them to small claims court and beating around the bush with them and trying to force payment out of them. If they're just broke ass hoes, they're broke ass hoes. And, God does not sleep, and karma is real. And in the long run, they will get fucked in the ass with no lube. And let me tell you, revenge is a dish best served cold. And I love watching people who have fucked me over just get it right in the fucking keister. And they always do. I love it. It's just so good, because I always win, because I'm a fucking great person, and I'm a loving, kind person. And I always do the right thing, even though to the person it may not feel like the right thing. But even people that I've fired from coaching have come to me years later and said, the best thing you ever did was to fire me, because it made me truly take a look at myself in a mirror and say, wow, I thought I was doing the most, but I'm doing the least, and it changed me. And now look how successful I am. And I love those stories. They make me so happy. But if you don't have contractual agreements, if you don't have the proper insurances to protect yourself and also protect your clientele, if you don't have a team of lawyers helping you, and I'm not talking about using ChatGPT as your legal team, okay? Get a fucking life. But if you don't have any of those legal structures to really protect you, to protect your business, and to protect your clientele, you are more fucked up than a soup sandwich. You need to be an LLC or some kind of an S Corp, B Corp. You have to have very specific protections, because let's just say something happens. Like I had a client the other day who was talking to me about they got sued by a client because they had hurt themselves at their business. And it wasn't this girl's fault. It was just a fluke accident that happened. And because she didn't have the appropriate contractual agreements to protect her company, and she wasn't an LLC, which I think is cuckoo, she got sued for $10 million, and she paid it from her own personal accounts because they sued her as a person and not as a limited liability company. And these are all the things that I teach in my 12-week business program on my app. This is also what I help you with, me and my team help you with, to establish these basic legal and financial protections when you're working with me in a business container, in a coaching container. But you better make sure that you are protected in every way, shape, and form, or you are going to get fucked. And I've seen it happen hundreds of times through so many different clients that I've coached over the years. And it's so sad to watch, but it is what it is. People are litigious and they're fucking assholes. And a lot of people look at people like me and they're like, oh, she has so much money, she doesn't need it, I'm going to sue her, or I'm going to do this. And I've gotten into so many lawsuits over the years, and I've always won, or I've had to just pay out money to make people go away because it was just actually starting to be a huge distraction for me being in a lawsuit for like frivolous shit, trademark infringements and all this crap. And again, I teach this within my 12-week business course on the Ambitchious app. And I also teach this in my business mentorship container. But you better make sure that you're protected, or just go work for someone else who are smart enough to protect their company. And this is the last one. And I know this is going to really strike a lot of chords with a lot of you out there, but if you are the type of person who is a perfectionist and you're always getting ready to get ready, and you're a procrastinator and you're doing all the lists and you're, creating all the spreadsheets and you're doing all the business plans, I'm going to tell you that endless tweaking, or never launching the course, or never, sending the email, or never shipping the product, or never really finalizing creating the courses, or creating the virtual component to your company, or doing the thing, no one is going to come and like blow smoke up your ass, or like put you in a hot air balloon and be like, here we go, we're going up, we're going to ascend. No one's coming to save you. Perfectionism and procrastination are just two fancier words for I'm afraid. Most of the people that are self-proclaimed perfectionists are just scaredy cats. They tweak things endlessly. They try to make things so perfect, not because they're perfectionists, because they want it to be perfect, because they're stalling the actual thing to launch, to sell, to accrue wealth, because usually they don't want to be looked down upon. They don't want to be criticized. And like I said earlier in the podcast, if they're not feeding you, fucking you, or financing you, who gives a fuck? Okay. No one's sitting at home right now saying like, oh, I hope that Katie can pay her mortgages. Oh, I hope that Katie can make payroll. Oh, I hope that Katie can pay off those credit cards. No one's sitting at home. You are the only person in the world who gives as many fucks as you do about your business than you do. No one else cares. Even if they say that they care, even if they love you, even if they say that they support you, they really don't give a fuck. We're humans. We are narcissists by nature. We only care about ourselves, truly, at the end of the day. Okay. So stop saying that you're a perfectionist. Stop being a procrastinator. Call it what it is. You're being a scared ass, weak ass, pussy ass bitch. Grow some goddamn bush hair and do the damn thing. Launch it. And if you are having issues with it, hire a coach to help you do the thing to make sure it is perfect, and then push it out there. But just like sitting on these things, listen, I have sold courses and an app and all these things before I even created the thing that I was selling. Okay. I just had the idea and sold it, and then I pushed myself to create the thing. Okay. Maybe that sounds crazy and sick to you, but that's just how I roll. Okay. All right. So next week's podcast is the finale. It's going to be with my soul sister and amazing client, Tosh Bennett. And she is going to give you so much wisdom, and we're going to have such a great conversation. And that's going to be the finale of this season. And we're going to take a couple of months off while I really fix up KBMC Wellness to make it a full recording studio. And I put the money and the time and the effort, and I hire the right people to do that. So stay tuned for that. And if you're not on our mailing list, because I send out newsletters every week, just keeping people in the loop of all the things that are going on in Ambitchious Land, just go to my website and a pop-up will come up, and just put your name, a first and last, and your email address. And I'm going to add you to our email list so you can keep in the loop of everything that's going on in the next couple of months at KBMC Wellness and Social Club. And we're going to be doing some really incredible things coming down the Pretty Pink pipeline. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, don't forget to stay ambitious. And if you have someone out there that is an amazing business person, but is just really falling short of making the move, share this 4-part series with them. It's going to help them so immensely. And in the meantime, don't forget to stay ambitious. And I will see you next Tuesday.